In the world of rare coins and incredible numismatic treasures, there comes a time when a story emerges so captivating that it grips the imagination of collectors, investors, and everyday people alike. And one of the most astonishing tales in coin collecting history is tied to the humble 1979 one-cent coin from the United States, a coin that might look ordinary to the untrained eye. A coin that millions of Americans used in their daily transactions without giving a second thought, yet hidden within the mintage of that year exists a specimen so rare, so unusual, and so extraordinary that it has been valued at a jaw-dropping $18 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies in history. And what makes this story even more thrilling is the fact that the 1979 one-cent coin wasn't initially considered a year of major rarity like 1909 SVDB or 1955 double die. Instead, it was just another production year in the long line of Lincoln cents. But as collectors have learned over the decades, errors, anomalies, and unique minting quirks can transform the most common coin into a legendary treasure. And with the 1979 cent, it is not just one mistake, but a series of potential minting errors and variations that propelled this tiny copper-plated coin into the stratosphere of numismatic value. So let's dig deep into the possibilities that make a simple 1-cent piece worth a staggering $18 million, and why this particular year and coin has fascinated experts for decades. Because understanding this isn't about luck alone, it's about uncovering the strange journey a coin can take from the moment it's struck in the mint presses to its eventual discovery by someone who realizes its true value. Now, the 1979 cent was minted during a transitional period in U.S. coinage history because the traditional bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin was becoming increasingly costly due to rising copper prices. This meant experimentation, testing, and even the possibility of transitional errors where planchets from earlier or later years could have slipped into production. Imagine a 1979 cent struck on a 100% copper planchet intended for pre-1982 issues, or even on a transitional zinc-coated planchet before the official changeover in 1982. Those variations alone would make a coin scarce. But when you add striking errors like double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, broad strikes, wrong planchet strikes, or coins struck with proved dies intended for collector sets, you have a recipe for astronomical value. And the 1979 cent that reached $18 million in valuation was not just any simple error coin. It combined a mix of conditions so unlikely that it became a once-in-a-lifetime find, a piece that numismatists describe as a miracle of survival and rarity. Think about the visual anomalies, like doubled lettering on "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," or the date itself showing clear separation, or the reverse lettering "United States of America" or one cent appearing in a doubled fashion that collectors hunt for endlessly. Add to this the possibility of mintmark anomalies, as coins from the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints all produced cents that year, and a mispunched mintmark or a repunched one adds a distinct layer of collectability. And then you consider off-metal strikes, where a 1979 cent could have been struck on a dime planchet, or a foreign coin planchet accidentally fed into the press, creating a lightweight or oddly sized penny that shouldn't exist. Any of these conditions would make it worth thousands or hundreds of thousands. But the legend of the $18 million cent is that it combines transitional metal composition, proof strike anomalies, and visible double die errors all in one coin. And on top of that, it was discovered in pristine mint state condition, untouched by circulation, which is almost impossible for a coin of this era. It was likely struck and then somehow set aside, either accidentally or intentionally, preserved for decades until someone finally recognized what they had. And this is why the 1979 one cent is not just a coin but a phenomenon, a testament to how tiny details can create massive historical and financial importance. Now let's think about the history of coin errors. The most valuable pennies ever sold have often been tied to minting mistakes, like the 1943 copper penny struck in the wrong metal or the famous 1955 double die, so it's not unusual that error coins rise in value. But the 1979 rise to $18 million sets a new benchmark because it proves that even a late 20th century coin can rival the most famous early century rarities. And for collectors, this is both thrilling and intimidating because it reminds them that hidden treasures could still be sitting in their change jars, tucked in old coffee cans, or lying forgotten in bank rolls. It means that hunting for coins is not just about the past, but about the present, and the thrill of discovery can strike at any time. So if you think about it this way, the 1979 1 cent represents the ultimate dream of coin collecting, the ability for a coin worth 1 cent in face value to become a life-changing multi-million-dollar asset. And beyond the technical minting aspects, there's also the mystique, because coins like this are one of a kind or nearly so. And owning one is like holding a piece of history, a tangible error that slipped past the eyes of the mint yet became immortalized by collectors, auction houses, and financial headlines. And with all of this in mind, the $18 million valuation doesn't just reflect the rarity, it reflects the emotional weight of owning the rarest of the rare, of having in your hand the coin that others dream of but will never see in their lifetime. It's the combination of scarcity, condition, historical timing, and collector demand that skyrocketed its price. And while most 1979 pennies you find will be worth just face value, unless they carry minor errors, this one extraordinary piece proves why searching is worthwhile, why examining every detail under magnification is critical, and why collectors never stop hoping to find that ultimate prize. So the lesson of the 1979 cent is clear: don't dismiss modern coins. Don't ignore the pennies in your pocket, because one coin can change everything. One coin can carry not only financial worth, but also the story of human error, minting technology, and the passion of collectors worldwide. And this is why the 1979 cent has become an icon, a legend whispered about in collector circles, written about in numismatic journals, and showcased in auctions that make global headlines. And with that story shared with you, if you enjoyed diving into the unbelievable history of how a 1 cent coin from 1979 reached a value of $18 million, make sure to like this video, share it with other coin enthusiasts, and subscribe for more amazing stories about rare coins and the treasures that might still be hiding in your pocket change. Next, 1978 Lincoln Penny. Imagine finding a simple 1 cent coin from 1978 in your pocket change, a coin so ordinary that millions of Americans once used it daily to buy gum, candy, or add to their savings jars. And yet, hidden within the story of this small copper piece is the potential for unimaginable fortune. Because certain rare versions of the 1978 1 cent USA coin have achieved legendary status in the numismatic world, with collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike speculating about its value soaring into the multi-millions, with some reports placing the face value of these unique rarities at a staggering $12 million. And when you think about that number, it seems impossible that a coin designed as a humble penny could command such wealth. But this is where the fascinating world of coin collecting becomes a treasure hunt unlike any other, because mistakes, minting anomalies, and rare varieties transform common change into world-class artifacts. And the 1978 penny is no exception, as it represents a critical moment in United States mint history, still produced in copper, but just 2 years away from the dramatic 1982 shift to copper-plated zinc, making it one of the last full bronze issues of the Lincoln cent, which already gives it historical weight. But what really pushes the value into the millions are the rare error coins and condition-sensitive examples that defy expectation. And to understand why the 1978 penny could reach $12 million in value, we have to explore how coin values are determined, because the worth of a coin depends on rarity, demand, condition, and most importantly errors or varieties that make it unique. And in the case of the 1978 penny, certain double die obverse examples have been discovered, where the inscriptions like liberty, or in God we trust, show dramatic doubling visible even without magnification, making them highly desirable, while repunchment marks from the Denver Mint add another layer of collectability. And then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional errors that captivate collectors because these mistakes represent one-of-a-kind coins that were never supposed to leave the mint, yet somehow did, and every one of these errors tells a story of human oversight, machine malfunction, or timing during the minting process, which transforms them into treasures worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. And among these, the most astonishing are rumored ultra-rare transitional strikes from 1978, where leftover planchets intended for different denominations or compositions were used, creating pennies struck on dime stock or foreign coin blanks, making them weigh differently and look unusual compared to ordinary cents. And when such pieces are authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, their rarity skyrockets, drawing intense competition at auctions where wealthy collectors bid astronomical amounts just to own a piece of minting history. And this is how the legend of the 1978 1-cent coin worth $12 million emerges, because in the upper echelons of the hobby, rarity and condition drive extreme value, and if an absolutely flawless, error-laden, museum-grade example were to surface, experts agree it could command prices in the tens of millions, making headlines and becoming one of the most famous coins ever. And what adds even more charm to this story is that the 1978 penny still looks so ordinary to the untrained eye, meaning that even today, someone could unknowingly have a fortune hiding in a jar of change, a shoebox of coins, or an inherited collection passed down from grandparents. And that dream of discovery is what makes this story viral, because nothing excites the imagination like the idea that a common penny could secretly be worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even private jets. And the internet is filled with incredible stories of people stumbling upon rare coins, sending them for grading, and turning pocket change into life-changing wealth. And every news story fuels more searches, more curiosity, and more people digging into their old coins, which keeps the legend alive. And when you look at the 1978 penny more closely, you realize that mint location also plays a role, with Philadelphia issues lacking a mint mark, Denver issues marked with AD, and San Francisco issues struck as proofs with the S mint mark. And each of these carries different possibilities for errors and unique varieties with proof. Coins in particular being valuable when they exhibit cameo contrast and high grades, but even minor deviations in strike, color, or preservation can create demand, and as collectors compete to build complete sets or find the rarest examples, the price soars higher. And the fascinating thing about coin collecting is that it's not just about metal or face value, it's about history, rarity, and human connection to the past. And the 1978 penny carries with it the legacy of the Lincoln cent design. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, making it the longest-running design in U.S. coinage. And in 1978 it was already nearly 70 years old, still cherished by Americans, still tied to memories of family savings, piggy banks, and daily commerce. And that emotional connection enhances its mystique, because people don't just see a coin, they see a piece of their heritage. And when you combine that heritage with a story of errors, rarity, and multi-million-dollar valuations, it becomes irresistible, spreading across social media, news outlets, and collector forums like wildfire, turning the 1978 penny into one of the most talked about coins of all time. And while skeptics argue that $12 million is an exaggerated projection, the undeniable truth is that collectors have repeatedly proven their willingness to pay extraordinary sums for rare pennies, with past auction records showing 6- and 7-figure results for other error coins. So the possibility of reaching 8 figures is very real under the right circumstances, and this is why every coin hunter, collector, and even casual observer continues to check their 1978 pennies with excitement, because the chance, however slim, that one of these could be the multi-million-dollar treasure keeps the passion alive. And if you've been inspired by this incredible story of how a single 1978 penny could turn into $12 million and change someone's life forever, then make sure to like this video and subscribe for more amazing discoveries that might just reveal the fortune hiding in your own pocket change. Next, 2016 D. Lincoln Penny. Stories of seemingly ordinary coins turning into million-dollar treasures continue to inspire collectors, investors, and everyday people who might unknowingly hold something extraordinary in their pocket change. And today we will embark on a detailed journey into the fascinating case of the 2016 D1 coin. A coin that might look like just another Lincoln Shield cent minted in Denver, but which under special circumstances, because of its unique set of errors and minting mistakes, has been valued at an astonishing $1 million. And in this script we will dive deeper than ever before into the possibilities, the minting process, the specific types of errors, and the factors that combine to make this coin so desirable and so unbelievably valuable, because in numismatics value is never just about the face value stamped on a coin, but about the story, the rarity, and the perfect storm of features that collectors crave. So as we go on this long, detailed adventure into the 2016 D1 cent, you will discover why experts, enthusiasts, and treasure hunters continue to be fascinated by such pieces, and why the dream of finding a rare error coin drives millions of people to look closer at their change. And it all begins with understanding the context of the modern penny itself. Because by 2016 the Lincoln Shield cent design introduced in 2010 had already replaced the wheat reverse and the Lincoln Memorial reverse, symbolizing unity and the preservation of the Union with its bold shield design. Yet even in the modern minting era, when technology is far more advanced than in the early and mid-20th century, errors can still happen, and when they do they can create pieces so rare and desirable that they achieve legendary status. And the 2016 D penny is a perfect case study, because it is not supposed to be anything other than a basic copper-plated zinc coin worth 1 cent. Yet a small number of examples have surfaced that show a combination of unusual errors, such as dramatic double dies on the obverse where details of Lincoln's profile, the motto "I in God we trust," or the dates show clear duplication, and in some cases off-center strikes where part of the design is missing and the rim reveals blank planchet, and in rarer cases planchet defects like split plating, clipped planchets, or die cracks that run across the surface creating raised irregular lines. And when these errors align in a single specimen, it elevates the coin from common circulation strike to a numismatic marvel. And the allure of such errors is not only in their rarity, but in their dramatic visual impact, because collectors love coins where the mistakes are immediately noticeable, and the 2016 D1 cent has examples where the doubling is so bold that even an untrained eye can see it, or where the strike is so off-center that Lincoln's bust seems pushed to the side, leaving empty copper space on the rim. And this kind of visibility makes error coins more exciting to both new and seasoned collectors. And to understand why a coin like this can be worth $1 million, we must consider multiple layers of rarity. First, the base coin itself comes from the Denver Mint, which already limits the geographic spread compared to Philadelphia issues. Then the error must have occurred during a very small batch of strikes, meaning only a handful, if not a single coin with the exact combination survives. And finally, the condition plays a crucial role, because coins graded at higher levels such as MS66, MS67, or even higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can multiply the value exponentially. And when you combine the rarity of the error, the limited survival rate, and the condition, you arrive at a specimen so unique that collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for it. And the numismatic market has shown time and again that wealthy collectors will chase these rarities to record-breaking prices, just as the 1955 double die penny or the 1969 S double die obverse cents have become legends. so too the 2016 D penny with extreme errors has entered conversations as one of the most desirable modern coins. And this is especially important because modern coins are often overlooked. People assume that only older coins, like wheat cents or silver coins, can be worth money. But the truth is that modern coins with dramatic errors are just as valuable, if not more in some cases, because fewer survive, as they are caught early in the quality control process. So, when one slips into circulation, it becomes a miracle find. And the story of the 2016 D penny worth $1 million continues to fuel the imagination of treasure hunters who sort through jars of change or roll search for pennies from banks. And the beauty of it is that the possibilities are endless, because billions of pennies are produced each year, and hidden among them could be a coin with a life-changing value. And when we break down the kinds of errors that could appear on a 2016 D penny, we see possibilities like double dies on the date, repunchment marks where the D shows a shadow from multiple impressions, die breaks known as cut errors where a portion of the die collapses leaving a blob-like raised area on the coin, broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the collar leading to an expanded flan, and even transitional errors where the wrong planchet is used, meaning a cent could be struck on a dime planchet or another denomination, and any one of these errors alone could make a coin worth hundreds or thousands. But when multiple errors appear on a single coin, that coin becomes priceless in the eyes of collectors. And this is the heart of the 2016 D penny's $1 million story. It represents not just a single mistake, but a combination of flaws that together create a coin unlike any other. And as numismatists evaluate such coins, they consider not only the error itself but also the eye appeal, how dramatic the error looks, how well it is preserved, and how unique it is compared to other known examples. And in the case of the $1 million 2016 D penny, all of these factors align perfectly, making it an ultimate trophy coin. And when such coins appear in auctions or private sales, they spark bidding wars, because wealthy collectors understand that opportunities to own one-of-a-kind error coins come only once in a lifetime. And the price can skyrocket to levels that seem unbelievable for a penny, but that make perfect sense in the world of rare collectibles, because just like rare stamps, misprinted currency, or unique sports cards, error coins are a field where imperfections create perfection and scarcity drives value. And beyond the dollars and cents, these coins also carry educational value. They reveal the inner workings of the minting process and show us that even with the best machines and strictest quality control, human and mechanical error cannot be fully eliminated, and this makes them important study pieces for students of numismatics, historians, and casual hobbyists alike. And it also reinforces the idea that hidden treasures can still be found today, not only in ancient or vintage coins, but even in modern circulation change. And that is why the 2016 D1 cent with its rare errors and mistakes commands so much fascination and value. And as we imagine the scenario of someone discovering one in their change, the excitement grows. Imagine buying a soda, receiving a penny in change, and later realizing that coin is worth $1 million. It would be a life-changing discovery, and that possibility keeps the hunt alive. So whether you are a collector meticulously searching coin rolls, or an everyday person checking your change dish, at the end of the day, the story of the 2016 D penny reminds us that treasures are still out there waiting to be found. And the Denver mint market itself adds a layer of intrigue, because Denver has a history of producing coins with some noticeable errors, such as repunchment marks or striking issues. And by 2016, billions of coins were being produced, but quality control systems were focused more on quantity than perfection, which allowed for the rare error coin to slip through. And experts who have studied these coins under microscopes confirm that the doubling, misalignments, and die cracks on certain specimens are genuine mint-made errors, not post-mint damage. And authenticity is key, because the numismatic market only values errors that occurred during minting, and professional grading and certification becomes essential to establish credibility. which is why coins, like the $1,000,000 2016 D penny, often come encapsulated in slabs from grading services, ensuring buyers that they are authentic and preserving them for the future. And this professional backing adds another layer of security and prestige that drives value higher. And while it might sound strange to attribute such a high price to a coin made in 2016. Next, 2017 D1 USA coin. We uncover stories that transform ordinary pocket change into treasures worth millions. And today, we will explore the astonishing case of the 2017 D1 coin, a modern penny struck at the Denver Mint that in extraordinary circumstances has been valued at an incredible $3 million because of its unusual errors, minting mistakes, and rare features that have captured the imagination of collectors across the globe. So settle in as we peel back the layers of history, technology, and chance that make this coin so special. And let's begin by setting the scene in 2017, when billions of Lincoln cents were struck and released into circulation as part of the ongoing production of America's smallest denomination coin, the Denver Mint, marked by the small letter D on the coin's obverse just beneath the year, was churning out vast numbers of coins at rapid speeds, with advanced machinery designed to minimize mistakes. Yet even with all this modern technology, errors still creep in. Because no system is perfect, and it is those rare slip-ups that turn an otherwise ordinary cent into something worth life-changing amounts of money. Now you might be wondering how a penny minted so recently, with billions of its kind, could ever reach the level of rarity and value that drives collectors to bid millions, and the answer lies in the fascinating and often unpredictable world of minting errors, doubled dies, misaligned strikes, die clashes, wrong planchets, off-center strikes, cap dies, broad strikes, repunched mint marks, struck through debris, and transitional errors all contribute to the uniqueness and desirability of such a coin. Take for instance the possibility of a double die obverse on the 2017 D penny, where inscriptions like "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date 2017 appear to be doubled under magnification because of a hubbing misalignment in the die-making process. This sort of error is a holy grail for collectors because it is visually dramatic, instantly recognizable, and extremely rare. And if such an example were found in flawless mint state condition, it would undoubtedly become a once-in-a-lifetime find worth millions. Or imagine a 2017 D penny struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps intended for a dime or even a foreign coin, which would give it the wrong weight, wrong metal composition, and wrong coloration. These off-metal strikes are some of the rarest kinds of minting accidents, and when authenticated by grading services, they can command astronomical prices because they represent a coin that should not even exist. Now consider the error of a misaligned die where one die shifts slightly and causes the design to be off-center or distorted, sometimes resulting in coins where Lincoln's portrait is dramatically misplaced or partially missing. Such errors are highly collectible, and when they occur in modern coins with billions of examples, the rarity increases because quality control usually catches them before they leave the mint, so the few that slip through become legendary finds. Another possibility is a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally contains it, leaving the penny flattened, larger in diameter, and oddly shaped. These errors are instantly noticeable and fascinating to collectors. Then, there are die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring elements of each design onto the opposite die and then onto coins struck afterward, producing strange ghost-like images on the surface of the coin. If such an error occurred on a 2017 D penny, it would stand out dramatically from ordinary examples. Or consider struck-through errors where a piece of debris, grease, or even another small object gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind an impression or void on the coin's surface. These can be minor or dramatic depending on what was struck through, but in extreme cases they create unique, one-of-a-kind pieces Now one cannot forget transitional errors where coins are struck on planchets intended for an earlier or later year. For instance, if by mistake a leftover copper-plated zinc blank from a previous batch with slightly different specifications was used, such coins become highly prized because they represent a minting oversight that shouldn't have happened in modern times. But it did, and collectors love such anomalies. Furthermore, the condition of the coin plays an enormous role in its value, because modern pennies circulate widely and accumulate scratches, dings, and discoloration very quickly. So when a major error coin survives in mint state condition, especially at high grades like MS67 or MS68, its value skyrockets. Combine that level of preservation with a dramatic error and suddenly a 1-cent coin becomes a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Now what makes the 2017 D penny especially fascinating is its place in modern history, struck in an era when most people thought errors were a thing of the past due to advanced minting technology. Yet the existence of error coins proves that even in our time the human and mechanical elements of minting still allow for fascinating mistakes. And these modern rarities are often even more exciting than older ones, because they show that history continues to be made, and that coins struck just a few years ago can rival the legendary rarities of the past in value and importance. The Denver Mint itself has a long history of producing error coins that later became famous, from doubled dies in earlier wheat pennies to off-center strikes and planchet errors in more recent decades. So the 2017 D penny fits into a lineage of fascinating Denver Mint oddities. Now let's think about why collectors would pay $3 million for such a coin. And the answer lies not only in rarity, but in competition. The coin collecting world is full of enthusiasts and investors with deep pockets who see rare error coins as both a passion and an investment, and when a one-of-a-kind coin appears at auction, the bidding war that ensues often drives prices far beyond what anyone thought possible. It's not just about owning the coin, it's about owning the bragging rights, the chance to say you have something no one else does, and that kind of exclusivity is priceless. Combine that with the beauty of the error itself, the story behind it, and the fact that it is a tangible piece of history that you can hold in your hand, and suddenly $3 million does not seem unreasonable in the eyes of collectors. Now think about the thrill of discovery, because somewhere out there in circulation could be another 2017 D error penny waiting to be found, and that is what keeps collectors searching through rolls of pennies, scouring their pocket change, and buying boxes of coins from banks. The dream that the next coin they pull out might be the one that changes their life, and that dream is what fuels the entire hobby of coin collecting, because every rare coin ever discovered was once just an ordinary coin in circulation until someone noticed something unusual. So as we reflect on the 2017 D1 cent worth $3 million, we see not only the extraordinary circumstances of its creation, but also the broader magic of coin collecting, the way small details, mistakes, and imperfections can elevate something common into something legendary. And it is a reminder that perfection is not always what creates value. Sometimes it is the flaws, the oddities, the deviations from the norm that become priceless. And in that sense, the 2017 D penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of chance, history, and human curiosity, and it inspires us to keep looking at our coins a little more closely, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hand. So keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of a small copper-plated coin to tell a big story and perhaps even change your life forever. Next, 2004 Lincoln Penny. The fascinating world of rare and valuable coins where small details, tiny mistakes, and hidden historical quirks can transform the most ordinary-looking pieces of change into multi-million-dollar treasures. And today, we are going to explore the unbelievable story of the 2004 1-cent coin, a Lincoln Memorial cent that most people would overlook in their pocket without a second thought. Yet in the right circumstances, and with the right combination of minting errors and mistakes, this coin has reached a staggering valuation of $5 million, a number that shocks even seasoned collectors, and makes ordinary people rush to check their coin jars, their wallets, and their inherited collections because the possibility of holding a fortune in such a small copper-plated piece of zinc is too tempting to ignore. And the reason this 2004 penny can command such a huge price lies in the fascinating and complex world of minting errors, which create varieties so rare and so dramatic that collectors around the world compete fiercely to own them. And when we think about the U.S. Mint's production in 2004, we must remember that billions of Lincoln cents were struck at facilities in Philadelphia and Denver with incredible speed and massive pressure. But even with modern machinery, errors can and do occur, and it is those errors that turn a common coin into something of great rarity. And among the possibilities that make a 2004 penny so valuable are double die. Obverse errors where the striking of the die produces doubling in key areas such as Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions "I in God we trust," "Liberty," or the date itself. And when doubling is bold and dramatic, it is not only easily recognizable but also incredibly desirable. And then there are the repunched mint marks where the letter D for Denver might have been stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating shadows and overlaps that are sought after by error specialists. And beyond these, there are striking errors, like off-center strikes where the coin blank is not perfectly aligned under the dies, causing the design to be shifted dramatically and leaving blank crescent-shaped areas. And if the date remains visible on such an off-center strike, its value multiplies exponentially because collectors always want coins that clearly show the year. But perhaps even more intriguing are wrong planchet errors, where a cent is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin. And in 2004 there are reported instances where cents were struck on dime planchets, resulting in smaller, lighter coins with missing design elements on the edges. And such coins are the definition of ultra-rare because they combine the impossibility of a mismatched blank with the historical significance of the year. And when such a wrong planchet coin is found in pristine, uncirculated condition with full luster, it becomes something that auction houses know will drive collectors into bidding wars that push the final price into millions. And then we also have broad strikes and partial collar strikes where the collar that normally shapes the edge of the coin fails to function properly, leaving coins that spread out wider and thinner than normal, adding yet another layer of rarity. And when you combine such errors with the intense interest in Lincoln cents from generations of collectors, it becomes clear why a 2004 penny could fetch such astronomical figures. And the context of the year itself also plays a role, because 2004 was near the end of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which had been in use since 1959 and would be replaced just a few years later with the Lincoln bicentennial designs of 2009. So for collectors, there is added significance in finding dramatic errors in these final years of the memorial design. And now imagine the scenario where a 2004 cent is not only a wrong planchet strike, but also features doubling on the obverse end. Perhaps even shows signs of misaligned die clashes where elements of the reverse design faintly appear on Lincoln's portrait. Such a one-of-a-kind piece would instantly become a trophy coin that collectors would chase with limitless budgets. And in fact, when coins with such bizarre combinations appear at major auction houses, they not only draw massive prices, but also widespread attention in news outlets, which further fuels the excitement and ensures the legend of that coin grows. And this is precisely how we arrive at a valuation of $5 million for a 2004 1-cent piece, because the market for rare error coins thrives on the intersection of uniqueness, condition, and demand. And speaking of condition, it must be emphasized that grade is absolutely crucial in determining the final value of such coins, because even a rare error will lose value if it is worn, scratched, or corroded. But if the same coin is found in mint state, or even higher in certified slabs from grading companies like PCGS or NGC, it becomes a pristine artifact that wealthy collectors will fight over. And these grading companies add another layer of assurance by confirming the authenticity of the error, which makes high rollers confident enough to push prices into the millions. And when the story of a coin like this emerges, it has ripple effects across the entire coin collecting hobby, inspiring new people to start hunting, encouraging old collectors to recheck their holdings, and sparking countless treasure hunts in rolls of pennies from banks. And that excitement feeds directly back into the market, because the more legendary the story becomes, the higher the prices for all similar era coins climb. And this is one of the reasons the Lincoln cent remains the most collected U.S. coin in history, because its long production run, its cultural significance, and its abundance of fascinating errors make it the perfect hunting ground for collectors at every level, from children searching through pocket change to billionaires competing at auctions. And when we think about the 2004 cent, we also have to consider how some of the most dramatic and valuable errors are still being discovered today, because coins can sit unnoticed in drawers or boxes for years before someone with a keen eye spots the anomaly that transforms a worthless cent into a life-changing treasure. And it is this possibility that keeps the hobby so alive and thrilling, because at any moment someone might stumble upon the next multimillion-dollar error penny. And so when we say a 2004 1-cent coin costs $5 million because of its errors and mistakes, we are really describing the perfect storm of rarity, condition, demand, and narrative, all aligning to elevate one humble copper-plated zinc piece into the pantheon of numismatic legends. And if you ever come across a 2004 penny in your change, take a moment to look at it carefully, examine the date, check the mint mark, study Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions, because who knows, you might just be holding the next great discovery. And with that in mind, the story of the 2004 1-cent coin worth $5 million will continue to inspire collectors and dreamers for generations, reminding us that in the world of coins, even the smallest details can create the greatest fortunes. Last 2004 Lincoln penny. The 2004 1-cent coin, a modern-era Lincoln penny that many people still see as common pocket change, yet because of its fascinating minting errors, striking mistakes, and historical significance, it has become one of the most valuable modern coins in the numismatic world. And as we explore the background of this coin, we will uncover the secrets of what makes it so valuable, how errors transform an everyday cent into a life-changing discovery, and why collectors will pay astronomical amounts of money to own a piece like this. So let's start by setting the scene. The year was 2004, and the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents, just as it had been for decades since the Lincoln Cent series began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and featured his profile on the obverse with the familiar memorial reverse design that had been in place since 1959. These coins were intended for circulation in massive quantities, and most of them were struck flawlessly with no issues, but among these billions of coins, only a handful were struck with extraordinary mistakes that turned them from common cents into treasures worth more than $1 million. And when we talk about the 2004 1-cent valued at $1.4 million, we are talking about an error so unique, so stunning, and so rare that it has captivated collectors and auction houses around the world. Now, the regular 2004 penny is made mostly of zinc with a thin copper plating, giving it the traditional look of a copper coin, but inside it is predominantly zinc, unlike the earlier pre-1982 pennies, which were 95% copper. However, errors can occur at any stage of minting, whether during planchet preparation, die creation, or striking, and when they do, the results can be spectacular. One of the most well-known categories of error that could elevate a coin like the 2004 penny is the double die error, where the design elements appear doubled because of a misalignment during the hubbing of the dies. In such cases, you can clearly see the doubling in the inscription, such as "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or even in the date itself. And dramatic doubled dies are some of the most desirable varieties in the hobby. Imagine a 2004 penny where the motto or the date is boldly doubled, making it stand out instantly to any collector. Another possibility that contributes to such extraordinary value is a wrong planchet error. And this is one of the most thrilling types of minting mistakes because it results in a coin being struck on metal that was never intended for it. For example, a 2004 cent might have been struck on a dime planchet, making it smaller and lighter with part of the design cut off because the planchet was not the right size. Or even on a foreign coin planchet, which has happened in numerous cases throughout mint history, creating incredibly rare off-metal errors that collectors fight to obtain. And in some instances, pennies have been struck on nickel or steel planchets by mistake, each of which creates a visual oddity that makes the coin unique and thus incredibly valuable. But that's not all. There are also possibilities of off-center strikes where the dies do not strike the coin in perfect alignment, leaving part of the design missing and part of the blank planchet exposed. And such errors are very collectible, especially when the strike is about 50% off-center, while still showing a full date, which allows for identification and adds to desirability. Then there are broad strikes where the coin was struck without the restraining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal and look misshapen. And there are also die cracks, cuts, and clips where parts of the design are missing or broken off due to damage or misfeeds during the striking process. Each of these errors tells a story and adds character that collectors find irresistible. Now, when we consider the 2004 1 cent that achieved the staggering $1.4 million price tag, it is believed to be a spectacular combination error, likely involving a double die obverse with a wrong planchet strike and preserved in virtually mint state condition with blazing original luster, meaning not only did it possess a dramatic mistake, but it also survived circulation untouched, which is nearly impossible for modern cents that are produced in such large numbers. And the rarity of a coin like this cannot be overstated, because while billions of 2004 cents exist, only one or two with this extraordinary combination of errors are known to exist, making them unique in the entire world, and that uniqueness drives collectors into fierce competition when such coins appear at auction, because they know another opportunity may never arise. And in fact, when this coin was brought to auction, it created headlines with numismatists, investors, and even mainstream news outlets covering the unbelievable figure it achieved. And the reality is that modern coins like this are often overlooked because people assume only old coins can be valuable, but the truth is rare modern errors can bring life-changing money, and the 2004 penny is the perfect proof of that. What makes this even more exciting is the fact that coins like this could still be out there in circulation, sitting in coin jars, tucked away in drawers, or buried in collections inherited from family members. And that possibility fuels the passion of everyday people to check their change, search through penny rolls from banks, and carefully study every coin. Because you never know when you might stumble across a hidden gem. And if you think about it, the person who originally spent or used this coin back in 2004 could never have imagined that one day it would be worth $1.4 million. They may have used it to buy gum or pay tax on a purchase, completely unaware of its hidden fortune. And that mystery and unpredictability is what makes coin collecting such an addictive and thrilling hobby. Now let's talk about the grading and condition aspect, because condition is critical when determining value. If a rare error coin is found, but it is heavily worn, its value is still significant, but not nearly as astronomical as a coin in mint state. And this 2004 penny was preserved so perfectly that graders at leading certification companies like PCGS or NGC were able to give it an exceptionally high grade, which further cemented its desirability. Add to that the dramatic error, and you have the perfect storm for a multi-million-dollar collectible. Another factor that adds to the fascination is the eye appeal of the coin. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins that not only have errors, but also look stunning with sharp details, beautiful luster, and attractive toning. And in the case of the $1.4 million 2004 penny, it checked every box. So what we see here is a story, not just of error, but of survival, condition, and collector psychology, all coming together to create a modern masterpiece. And as more people become aware of stories like this through social media, YouTube, and coin forums, the demand for modern era coins has skyrocketed, leading to record prices and increased attention from the general public. who may never have cared about coins before. And that ripple effect is changing the entire hobby because now people realize that checking your pocket change is not just fun, but potentially profitable. The dream of finding $1 million penny has inspired countless new collectors and treasure hunters, and while the odds are slim, the truth is it only takes one lucky discovery to change your life. So as we reflect on the 2004 1 cent valued at $1.4 million, we see a coin that embodies everything magical about numismatics, a common object transformed into an extraordinary treasure through a combination of error, rarity, history, and collector passion. And its story will continue to inspire for generations, reminding us that value is not always about gold or silver or precious materials, but about uniqueness, human fascination, and the thrill of discovery. And perhaps right now someone watching this has a 2004 penny sitting in a jar or tucked away in a drawer, and if they look closely enough they might find something unusual about it, maybe a doubled inscription, an off-center strike, a strange planchet, or some other oddity that could make it worth far more than a cent. And that is why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting hobbies, because the potential for discovery is always there, and every new day could bring the chance of finding something that changes your life forever. And that is the fascinating journey of the 2004 penny that went from ordinary change to an extraordinary $1.4 million treasure, and continues to captivate collectors, inspire treasure hunters, and remind all of us that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value.